Welcome to Yunnan. 300 kilometers in that direction, over the hill and into the valley, live China's most isolated ethnic group. Let's go and find them.
Deep in China's rural province of Yunnan, in the valley of the Derung, live China's most isolated ethnic group. For some mysterious reason, these women would have their faces tattooed at the age of 12. Sources are conflicted as to why. We journeyed through China, crossing mountains, rivers, and some of the harshest terrain, seeking out these women. And what we found was shocking. Our journey to find these women would last 5 days and span many hundreds of kilometers. Today, less than 5 of these women are still alive. These are the last of the tattooed faces of the Derung, and our journey to find them.
So, it is just past sunrise in the old town of Shangri-La, and before we start today's journey, I just wanted to come on here, find somewhere quiet, and tell you guys about altitude, because many of you guys will never have experienced altitude before, and it can be extremely dangerous. And there are a couple of things that you must do and must not do before coming to altitude to make sure that you remain safe. One of those first things is you must not have a hot shower on your first night. It reduces the amount of oxygen in your body and it can be really dangerous for you. Number 2, now there may be lots and lots of delicious stores selling some yak meat and some other local produce. Unfortunately, if you eat too much meat, too much fatty meat as well, all the blood will go to your stomach to digest this, or your oxygen will go down again. Of course, there are ways around this. You can do what I did. I went to Kunming first for 2 days, and the elevation went from Shanghai, which is about 5 meters, to Kunming, which is 2,000 meters, and then on the 3rd day I came here to Shangri-La, which is about 3,200 meters. So for 2 days I was midway, and this really helped my body to acclimatize. Look at this place, man. Magical. Check out this view. What do you reckon? Looks good, huh? So we have left the old town of Shangri-La behind us to continue down the Jinsha River Valley to meet the Derung people, or the Derung people as they are otherwise called. Now, our journey to get to these people will be pretty tough, and we will be stopping off a lot along the way to check out some other places and to see some monasteries and different lakes and things like that. One thing though, this highway is absolutely phenomenal. We've been traveling around it for I don't know how many kilometers, but it's been super smooth the whole way. And to think that this even exists, that they built a highway up here, is absolutely insane. Now, this river behind me, I just called it the Jinsha River, the Jinsha River Valley, but it's known by many different names according to how close you are to the source. I'll give you guys a clue because you might be familiar with it. If I jumped in this river and travelled through the Three Gorges Dam, a couple of other dams, and stayed in it for 6 weeks, I would end up at home in Shanghai. Because this is actually the Yangtze River right here. This is the start of the Yangtze River. It's called Jinsha because we're close to the source. The further along you go, it's then called Tongtian, and then when you get to the end, it's called the Yangtze. So we have just arrived at the Benzalan Monastery. Now it's a small Buddhist monastery overlooking the Jinsha Valley. It's so remote, there are absolutely zero tourists that would ever come here, and it's absolutely beautiful. So travellers passing through used to stop here for blessings and for rest on their journey. So I won't record within the monastery, just been inside, it's absolutely beautiful by the way. But if you look at these walls here, the white walls, they are all made with a combination of milk and honey. And once a year, the milk and honey is reapplied. So it's a big celebration for them once a year. All the monks get together, mix the milk and honey together, and paint the walls of the monastery. Okay, we have stopped on the side of the mountain to come and get a coffee. This is by far the highest coffee shop I've ever seen. Jesus Christ, look at that. Look at that view. Wow. So we're inching ever closer to the Derung tattooed face women, and today's route will take us through these mountains up here, the Meili mountain range. These roads are treacherous though. They snake along the contours of the mountain, through the valleys carved by the Jinsha River. Interestingly enough, this region is famous for having 3 major rivers located all within 100 kilometers of this very area. Of course, the Yangtze, which is the Jinsha, the Mekong, and the Salween. Now, I won't lie, my palms are a little bit sweaty traveling along these roads. Take a look. Along these roads, I'm realizing that the only thing stopping you from a 200 meter drop is a 1 meter guardrail.
The sacred Meili Snow Mountains form one of the most dramatic mountain ranges in southwest China, rising abruptly above the upper Mekong River Valley. Some of these peaks go over 6,000 meters, and one even remains one of the highest unclimbed mountains on our planet.
Okay, so apparently the Land Rover, these roads are too rugged even for the Land Rover, so we need to actually change the car to get closer to where we need to go. You ready?
Yeah.
It's crazy how the locals,
Hello.
can smoke even at 4,000 meters. So they blocked this off so that normal cars can't get up there, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if they did it on purpose. They did it on purpose?
No, because some more accelerate, so the government blocked the way.
Ah, so it was done on purpose?
Yeah, that the local just
Yeah.
不计算，
These roads are
对，
absolutely
实际上
crazy.
有好几个徒步路
One
线，
false
直
move
接可以到。
One wrong
你
move
哪怕去哪地方都行。
and you are literally over the edge and there is nothing to stop you.
圣瓦隆坝，你要经过这个圣瓦隆坝嘛啊，
要走多久到哪里？
600 meters
哎，
down.
那得有
Jesus Christ.
哦，第一次来是吧？
是的。
那个顶上就空气上了。
Oh,
顶上。
look at that.
今天你们运气太好了，昨天阴天嘛。
真的吗？
嗯。
我很想今天天气变差了，
没有，今天
因为我们先从
昨天前天都阴天。
我们先从德清那边过来，今天都多雨。
You say that we are really lucky because yesterday was cloudy.
那如果多雨的话，你们还带客人上去吗？
有些客人还是喜欢上去看这些雪。
来都
来
来了。
嗯。有些没有见过雪嘛啊，他愿意去看。你们从哪里过来啊？
你说他们吗？还是我？
哦哟，对啊，两拨人，我都忘了。
他们是英国人、意大利人。
对，英国的，
哇，
还有意大利人。
意大利的，哇
Oh my god. You know, I'm scared. Whoa. I honestly cannot wait for this journey to be over.
We were nearing our final destination, just a few hundred more kilometers to go, and you could tell how close we were getting by just how remote things were becoming. It was day 3, and roads were becoming wilder, so wild that the best way to transport goods around this area was by using drones. We saw it so often along this route. And it's kind of incredible how technology has just transformed people's lives. What used to take a whole day's trip to get to the other side of the river to go and collect something now takes 10 minutes. On the road, we met a locally famous musician who was the person responsible for keeping the tradition of making these instruments alive. As with all people along this remote region of China, he was very warm and friendly, and even invited us into his home. Okay, so we are getting closer and closer to our destination. We're getting closer and closer to the Derung women with the tattooed faces. But of course, we can't just go and disturb them and go empty-handed. We've come to this shop here on the way, and we're going to grab them a few gifts, maybe some big bags of rice and some oil, some essentials that they can basically use in their day-to-day lives. I think it will be a nice token, because we're taking up some of their time. Obviously we're going to take photos and stuff like that, so I think the least that we can do is obviously get them some gifts. But just look how scenic this area is. Absolutely insane. If all goes well, we should meet them tomorrow. And then it was time for the worst roads of the entire journey. These are roads that are damaged by landslides and flooding every single year, and are then rebuilt by the local government every year too. So happy to see a tunnel. And this mountain just up here in the distance, that is actually Myanmar.
This is the main village.
就是这里有一栋房子，
哦，这样的吗？
就是这里看到没有？原来有一栋房子，就直接倒在那个房子就是那里。然后这边稍微人多一点。
Okay, after those roads, we have made it to the base of the mountain. We are currently in the valley. Look, some friends have joined us too. So funny though, because we were just driving past this restaurant and a group of locals seemed to be very, very friendly. Started waving at us, shouting at us, telling us to come and eat with them. So let's go and take a look.
absolutely crazy to me that even though we are in this completely remote area, this, you know, deep in the valley at the base of the mountain, it is still has a little ecosystem and microcosm of local Chinese life, you know, and it's still quite vibrant. One thing is for certain though, after that journey, you definitely deserve a beer. You can't believe what?
I can't believe that people click more on your sticker than Martina.
She's a real customer. She cooked herself and served the bear. It's amazing that to me.
Feels pretty good, to be honest. After 4 or 5 days, however long it's been, I don't even know at this point. But after all this time, we have finally made it to our destination. And then tomorrow is obviously the big day. Tomorrow is the day when we get to meet the women that we've come here for. China's most isolated ethnic group, the Derung. Okay, so we have some really bad news, everybody. Some really unfortunate timing. We've come all this way, made this huge journey to meet these women specifically, and unfortunately one of the women that we were supposed to meet today, her husband, we actually just found out this morning that her husband passed away 2 days ago. So unfortunately, her specifically, we're not going to be able to see her. We wouldn't obviously want to see her in this situation. She's 90-something years old. She's lived her whole life with, you know, the love of her life. And 2 days ago, he's passed away, leaving her pretty much on her own. So it's obviously an incredibly difficult time for her. So I'm not going to go and intrude on that. And, you know, that being said, there are 4 villages specifically where these women still live. As I've mentioned before in this video, there were under 10 left a couple of years ago, and I think that number is probably now down to 5 or 6 of them. Obviously we don't know what they're actually doing today. They might not even be there. They might be busy. So we're going to make our way through these 4 villages and see if we can find some of them and meet some of them. We've come all this way from Shanghai. It's been a heck of a journey. 5-6 days. I think we're on day 5 now. It's been a heck of a long journey, and we're so close, you know? We're here right now, we're in this valley. We've made it all this way. We've just got one thing left to do. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we can meet some of them, say hello. I also just want to mention one more time, just to hammer home, how isolated this place actually is. It was crazy yesterday coming through the road into this valley, into this absolutely gorgeous valley that you see here with the mist falling through the trees. It took us, what, 2.5 hours on that road, and before that road was built, there was no way for anybody to, for much of history, for anybody to visit this place for over half of the year. So everybody that lives here is just its own little society. They were completely locked away from the rest of China, the rest of the world for a very, very long time, which makes this place really, really, truly unique. And just, you know, it's crazy to think that when that road was built, it completely transformed their lives. They can now, you know, be visited by car, they can get supplies and all of that down here. So yeah, I just want to hammer home how actually isolated this place is. With all that being said, let's go and finish our journey. Let's go and finish what we came here for, and hopefully go and meet some of the tattooed women of the Derung.
We packed the car for the last time and headed off.
Where's the espresso?
Unfortunately though, we had no luck in the first and second villages. It seemed no tattooed women remained.
Hang on tight, everyone.
我们秀一把，我们轻轻的秀一把。
But just as we were getting nervous, we spotted something ahead of us in the distance.
这两个可能就是了。
啊，是的。
哦，
Ah,
对
sì,
对对
questa
对
qua è quella che conosco.
你好，不吗？我来，你好宝啊！你好宝，你好宝。很安详，问他。
你们也辛苦了，感觉身体真好哦。年轻吗？年轻。85。哦，感觉很年轻。
你想拉他手吗？你想？
他想把帅哥的手。
好可爱。
It was an incredible feeling sitting and being with them. And once we delivered the gifts, we had time for a chat. We had so many questions.
Ah, the minority village in Pune, yes. You have to
15岁纹
sacrifice.
流水，我妈妈，
你妈妈帮你纹的。
妈妈是纹。
你妈妈为什么帮你纹？
茶叶，都农民做，
独龙。
都农民做，要上大了都农民做，我们就没有了。
哦，是说有人就来这里抢人。
Can you ask her
茶碗那个土司。
the age
后来
when
等嘛，
15
都农民做，民族的，等
She
嘛
says
民族。
the 塔瓦民族
she...
come down the mountain to rob the lady.
Right, so it's true the story. Which Minzu?
卡瓦茶瓦土司。
土司，这是藏族的土司。
Ah, Zanzu.
Yep.
Ah, see, it's true.
Her
the story.
mom helped her to tattoo.
They,
Ah,
they
the
had
mother.
a tattoo because they Tibetan. They
In
would come
her
down and
15-year-old.
kidnap
I'm sure the
the
mom
girl.
was also
If
tattooed.
they had the tattoo, they could not be sold in the
痛
slave market.
3天3夜。
还要去的。等一下，可以再说一下吗？你问他。
就是你觉得痛对吧？
懂。但用把你怎么着，毛做水的，我们那个人吧，没么去嘛，都农民做哪啊？
你妈妈帮你纹的。
我妈妈。
用针吗？就是。
个别给没吃过不可，都
痛了3天。痛了3天。
3天。
3 days.
哇！你女儿就不用了对吧？是，你女儿后来就不用了对吧？不用了。
毛做水的，茶叶毛做水的，没问那里个。
She said Chairman Mao saved them, so don't no need to
do that tattoo.
我们毛都毛，没么去知道，那叫我这都农民做，上大了都农，茶叶我们legit了，茶叶的。
你会害怕吗？那时候怕吗？怕他们吗？怕。I asked, was she afraid of those Tibetans? She said yes.
Sure, of course.
新年快乐！
拜拜拜拜。拜拜拜拜。 Came all this way to one of the most remote valleys in China to meet a handful of people who carried the entire history of the culture on their faces. For generations, Derung women wore tattoos across their faces, not as decoration, but as their identity. And these tattoos weren't fashion, they were protection, tradition, and belonging. Each line marked who they were, where they came from, and the community that they belonged to inside these mountains. Today, only a handful of these women are still alive, and when they're gone, this tradition will disappear with them. And standing here in this quiet valley, it's hard not to feel the weight of time, because these women carry something far greater than ink. They carry their memory, the memory of a people, a place, and a way of life that once filled this valley. The world around them has changed. Roads arrived, phones arrived, the old traditions have slowly faded, but the stories are still here, written gently across their faces. And when the last of these women are gone, the mountains may remain, but this chapter of human history will end with them. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Yes.